Saves versus clicks. The Pinterest metric creators Misread and what to track instead. A pin with 1,000 saves and 0 clicks isn't a win. Here's how to read Pinterest analytics for what actually drives storefront sales. A creator messages us thrilled about a pin that just crossed 4,000 saves. Great news, right? Except that same pin sent 11 people to her storefront all month, and only one of them bought anything. Meanwhile, a plainer-looking pin she almost didn't post, saved only 90 times, quietly drove 340 outbound clicks and 6 sales. She'd been celebrating the wrong number for months. This mix-up is one of the most common and most expensive misreads in Pinterest marketing. And it happens because saves feel like the headline metric, while a completely different number is the one actually paying your bills. Why saves feel important, but usually aren't. Saves are Pinterest's version of a bookmark. Someone liked your pin enough to file it away for later, into a board about someday recipes, maybe outfits, or aspirational home offices. That's a real signal of aesthetic appeal, but it's not a signal of purchase intent, and it's definitely not a signal that anyone left the app. A user can save your pin, never open it, never see your storefront link, and never think about it again. Pinterest itself optimizes for saves, because saves keep people scrolling and pinning inside the app, which is good for Pinterest's engagement numbers. It is not automatically good for yours. The trap is that saves are the biggest, most satisfying number on your analytics dashboard, so it's the one your eye goes to first. Big numbers feel like wins. But if you're building a business, not a mood board, the question isn't, did people like this? It's, did people act on this? Those are two different questions. And Pinterest gives you the data to answer both. Most creators just never scroll past the save count to find it. The metric that actually correlates with storefront traffic, outbound clicks, sometimes labeled link clicks in Pinterest analytics, count every time someone taps your pin and leaves Pinterest for wherever your link points, ideally your store, fan page. This is a much stronger intent signal than a save, because the person did something with friction attached. They left an app, they were happily scrolling in to go look at something else. That's a real decision, not a passive tap on a heart icon. Impressions, the third metric on the board, tell you how many times your pin was shown in someone's feed or search results. On their own, impressions are close to meaningless for revenue purposes. A pin can rack up 50,000 impressions from a trending search term and still convert nobody. What impressions are good for is context. Divide clicks by impressions, and you get click-through rate, CTR, which tells you how compelling your pin actually is relative to how often it's shown. A pin with 2,000 impressions and 60 clicks, 3% CTR, is working harder than one with 40,000 clicks, 0, even though the second pin's raw numbers look flashier. Quick gut check. If you can only look at one number before closing the app, make it outbound clicks. Everything else is context for that one figure. A weekly review routine that takes 15 minutes. You don't need a dashboard obsession to fix this. You need a short, repeatable Sunday or Monday routine. Pull up Pinterest Analytics. Sort your top pins by outbound clicks, not by the default impressions or saves sort most people never change, and walk through the same 5 steps every week. Sort your pins from the last 7 days by outbound clicks. Ignore the saves column entirely for this pass. Note the top 3 pins by clicks, and open each one to check what it actually looked like. Was it a product photo, a quote graphic, a before-after, a face-in-frame pin? Calculate rough CTR for those top 3 clicks or impressions to see if they're winning on quality or just on volume. Check your storefront analytics for the same window. Did click volume line up with an actual bump in visits and sales? Or did the clicks land and bounce? Pick one winning pin style to repeat 2 to 3 times this week. and retire or redesign whatever sat at the bottom of the click list 2 weeks running. That last step matters more than people expect. Pinterest rewards consistency around formats that already work. So once you find a pin style with a real click-through pattern, 3 or 4 variations of it usually outperforms 3 or 4 completely new ideas. Save the experimentation budget for 1 new format a week, not 5. Where the clicks need to land. Here's the part that gets skipped in most Pinterest advice. Even a perfect click-through rate is worthless if the destination can't close the sale. If your pin links to a generic Instagram profile or a scattered set of unrelated posts, you're spending real intent on a dead end. The people clicking off Pinterest are already warmed up. They saw something they wanted enough to leave an app for it, which means the very next screen they see needs to let them buy, download, or book in 1 or 2 taps, not go hunting through a bio for the right link. This is the whole reason a single, well-organized storefront link matters so much for Pinterest traffic specifically. When your pin points to your store, fan page instead of a generic homepage, the visitor lands directly on your digital downloads, courses, coaching calls, or templates with checkout, Apple Pay, and Google Pay already working. There's no second search required. If you haven't set that link up yet, it takes a few minutes to create your store and start pointing every pin at one destination built to convert instead of 5 scattered ones. A save is someone bookmarking your idea. A click is someone bringing their wallet to look at it. Only one of those pays rent. Matching pin content to what converts, not what saves. Once you've been tracking clicks for a few weeks, patterns show up that saves would have hidden completely. Aspirational, aesthetic pins, a beautifully styled flat lay, a dreamy mood board tend to rack up saves because people file them into inspiration boards they'll revisit someday. But someday boards convert at a crawl. Pins that show a specific, nameable outcome. The 12-page budget template I use every month. A screenshot of an actual product page. A before-after with a number attached tend to save less but click more, because the viewer already knows exactly what they'd be getting on the other side of the tap. It names a specific product, price, or outcome, rather than a vague vibe. It shows the actual thing, product mock-up, real screenshot, rather than an abstract lifestyle photo. Its CTR beats your account average. Even if its save count is unremarkable, clicking through leads somewhere the person can act immediately, not a homepage they have to explore. It's been reposted or slightly varied at least twice with consistent click performance, not a one-off fluke. This is also where a live example helps more than another paragraph of advice. Look at a live example store and notice how every product tile reads like the specific, nameable pin content described above. Clear name, clear price, clear one-tap action. That's not a coincidence. It's the same principle applied to the landing page instead of the pin. Closing the loop. Track the sale, not just the click. Outbound clicks are the best free proxy Pinterest gives you, but they're still a proxy. The real finish line is whether that traffic converts once it lands. This is where connecting Pinterest performance to your actual storefront numbers changes the game, because it tells you not just which pins get clicked, but which pins send buyers. A pro storefront can pipe this traffic into Google Analytics, so you can see, pin by pin or campaign by campaign, which Pinterest content is actually driving revenue versus which one just drives idle window shopping. That level of detail is worth the upgrade for anyone running Pinterest as a serious channel, not a hobby. And it's covered in the Pro plan alongside custom checkout fields and discount codes you can pin test against each other. One-line rule. Every week, before you look at anything else, sort by outbound clicks. Saves are the applause. Clicks are the ticket sales. Pinterest can be one of the highest leverage channels for creators selling digital products, because its users are already in a searching, saving, planning mindset rather than a passive scrolling one. But that leverage only shows up when you're reading the metric that actually reflects intent. Chase saves, and you'll optimize for pretty boards nobody acts on. Chase outbound clicks. Pair them with a storefront built to close the sale the moment someone lands. And check contact support if you ever get stuck connecting the two. That's the whole game. Right metric, right destination, repeated weekly until it's routine instead of guesswork. Key takeaways. Saves measure content appreciation, not intent to buy. A viral save count can coexist with zero storefront traffic. Outbound clicks are the closest Pinterest metric to real purchase intent. Since someone had to tap away from the app to get to you, impressions matter only as the denominator. What's your click-through rate? Clicks divided by impressions, not the raw view count. A weekly 15-minute review of clicks per pin, not saves per pin, tells you which pin styles to make more of. Pinterest traffic only becomes revenue once it lands somewhere built to convert, which is exactly why the landing destination matters as much as the pin. Start your creator store free at store.fan.